Apparently, millennials and Gen Z have a much different view of the American dream than past generations. Data shows that soaring inflation, student debt, and limited room for advancement in the workplace has made them feel that milestones like affording a home, starting a family, excelling within the corporate structure are out of reach. Does every generation feel this way at some point? I say yes. I'm sorry. If you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
This week on The View, Whoopi Goldberg, who has an estimated net worth of over $60 million, accused the younger generations of struggling financially because they're just too lazy. Let's listen to her full argument.
Every generation comes and wants to do better than their parents did. Every generation. But I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
Oh, and don't mention 4 days.
I feel for everybody that feels this, but I'm sorry. We busted our behinds. We had to bust our behinds because we didn't have the option of going back.
Y'all gave us the housing crisis, though.
But listen, we had all kinds of stuff.
No, it's true, but the one thing I'd say is millennials are statistically the first generation that's likely to do worse off than their parents.
You know what? That's what they said to us as well. Every generation is told you're going to do worse than your parents, and you know what? People pick it up and they do what they do, and they raise themselves. And this is what you got to do. It's called being a good citizen.
I think Whoopi is a good authority on this, considering she has not been a multimillionaire for about 25 years. She's really got her pulse on how it is out there to struggle and try to make a living. She doesn't understand the unbelievable rise in costs of everything to survive and the stagnancy of wages. That is just real numbers more than what you think your parents were told, but that's just my take on it, Cenk.
Yeah, so she said every generation was told that they were gonna do worse than their parents. That's not true at all. I grew up around the same, I mean, maybe I'm a little younger than her, but no, we were told we were gonna do better than our parents. So every generation of Americans assumed that until this one. So she just made that up, but I wanna give you stats real quick. In the last 50 years, home prices have jumped 118% after accounting for inflation, while income has only increased by 15%, according to the brokerage Clever Real Estate, based on census data. So they're not imagining it. The housing is totally unaffordable. It's in the numbers. And just yelling at young people, go, why don't you just work harder? Yeah, the housing prices are 115% higher, but work harder is not helpful. And I'm gonna show you one last graph here. So this is the productivity versus wages. This is the great American robbery. I explained this in my book, Justice is Coming. So the difference between those two graphs might not seem large, but it is. Productivity has been excellent. So you actually did work hard. That is a fact, but they did not pay you the wages that they used to. The difference between those two lines is $12 trillion. That is the equivalent of $17,000 a year for every American. And that was done because the establishment, both Republicans and Democrats, gave all the tax breaks to the rich, the powerful, and to corporations, and they robbed you blind. So Whoopi has no idea what she's saying.
Well, to be fair to Whoopi, the driver that she uses has wanted to cut his hours back by 4 hours. So, I mean, there is that. Look, you're dealing with people who are completely out of touch. It's the, to use the phrase, the moneyed elite, the moneyed aristocracy. Whoopi is clearly one of them now. But as she was saying, this generation, every generation is told you won't live. Cenk is 100% right. This is the first generation that actually, it's true, they won't live as well as their parents.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.